Good evening, Commanders Nation. So I want to make a video regarding our current wide receiver room, and I just want to see like the state of the wide receivers, basically. I want to go and think there's nothing to talk about, dude. So I want to do a positional group breakdown. Today is the wide receivers, the diva wide receivers. Actually, we ain't got no divas. Devo. Devo's not a diva. But anyways, so I want to start in four categories. First, I want to talk about like our past to present wide receiver room for last year compared to this year. I want to talk about salary cap after that. Then roles of upcoming season, and then my current little shitty projection of what I think might happen in 2025 season. So yeah. Before I continue, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. The fuck, I'm wearing New York and then fucking Commanders gear. I'm over here decking around. The fuck, look at this shit, boy. Traitor. No, this is, bro. I just came back from the gym. Summer body is a work in progress, but yeah. All right. So last year, this is the group of wide receivers that we had in the initial 53-man roster. We brought in 6 wide receivers. We had our boy Terry, of course. Then we had Diami, Luke, Lamade, Jameson, and Byron Pringle. Looking back on it now, I'm just like, we really like put all our marbles on Diami breaking out. We all saw how he did in training camp last year. Not just Diami, but I mean, like, did we really come in expecting Luke to do something in his rookie year? Even Luke himself, like he only had a couple years playing wide receiver in college. But anyways, I don't know. Just looking at this, I was like, Jesus Christ, did we really roll this out for Jaden? Like, and he balled out with these wide receivers. Like, that's insane. But no offense to none. I mean, I don't want to talk shit about any of them. Alameda had he had a solid season. Jameson's always there for us. So, but anyways, like, just seeing that, and then seeing now where we're currently at right now. This is the current quote unquote depth chart. It's not anything set, nowhere near set in stone. The fuck. But now we got Terry McLaurin, obviously number 1. Debo's in here. Debo is gonna play all over the offense, ladies and gentlemen. We all know how he's very interchangeable. Noah Brown is back in action. Luke, second year in the league. Jalen Lane, a guy we're all super excited about. The fastest player on the team now. 4.3, 4.40. The fastest player in the DMV. The fastest person in the DMV. Yeah, 4.3, 4.40. I'm super excited about Jalen Lane. Then we brought in Michael Gallup. A guy who's going to compete. I'm assuming he's going to compete with Noah Brown. We needed size. Kind of Michael Gallup fits that role of like the Martavis Ryan of last year training camp. But let's just continue for now. KJ Osborne is back. Back in a 1-year, $1.25 million contract. Let's just continue. Chris Moore, Mike Strahan, Ja'Cory Brooks, a guy who some of us are thinking he could be the dude who steps up out of the undrafted wide receivers or the undrafted players. Jacoby Jones, another dude. So I want to talk about first Ja'Cory Brooks and Jacoby Jones. Like, because Terry McLaurin, like, God bless his soul. We all love Terry, dude. Terry's in my 401k. He's getting a chunk of it. But he's not the big wide receiver. We need a red zone threat. And, and Debo as well. Debo's not the big dude. And then, then we go to Luke McCaffrey and Jalen Lane. Like, they're not, big. We needed guys like a Noah Brown, Michael Gallup. Dude, Ja'Cory Brooks and Jacoby Jones, both of them are 6'3". They fit that mold. Ja'Cory Brooks, 6'3". He ran a 4.65 though. But I'm thinking right now, Jalen Lane is going to lock up special teams. I don't want to say it's guaranteed, but I think Jalen Lane is going to carve out a big role for himself in special teams. I think he's going to be the new punt returner. And then also, the slot, I think it's going to be Luke McCaffrey versus Jalen Lane. Debo will play snaps in the slot as well. I mean, Debo's going to play everywhere, even running backs at certain downs. But primarily, it's going to be Jalen Lane versus Luke McCaffrey. And I'm a guy with Luke. Like, I'm nowhere near giving up on this kid. Wes Welker is now here. Wes Welker could give him some tips regarding the slot. Jalen Lane's perfect for the slot as well. So to me, like, I came into the season thinking, we need competition for Luke in the slot. And we got it with Jalen Lane. Competition breeds greatness. I'm going to say that forever. And, this is a training camp battle that I'm looking forward to. Jalen Lane versus Luke McCaffrey. Even then, like, Jalen Lane, I feel like is going to replace that De'Ami Brown mold, especially like De'Ami Brown late in the season into the playoffs, where he's a deep threat. He's in there. He's getting those safeties on their tippy toes. They see Lane and they're like, oh, shit, dude. They start stretching their hamstrings. They're like, dude, he's going deep. So we needed that. We got Jalen Lane doing that. But anyways, I'm excited about that. But, it's going to be Gallup versus, I guess, Noah Brown. But right now, the guarantees we have, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Lane. Luke is a lock. He's a lock. I don't want to hear none of that right now about Luke's not a lock. If he does fail this year, then yeah, he'll be in the bubble next year. That's 4 right now. That's our locks. I think Noah Brown, I'm not gonna say he's a big lock, but I think he's most likely gonna be on the roster. That leaves 5. We carried 6 wide receivers last year in the initial 53-man roster. That leaves a lane for our dude like Ja'Cory Brooks, possibly. KJ Osborne, a guy again. KJ Osborne's a guy where before the Patriots, because he didn't really play that much. Obviously there's a lot of factors there, but these are his current stats before he got to the Patriots. With the Vikings, he was cooking to a certain degree. He was cooking mildly. Like, look at it. 50 catches, 60 catches, 48 catches, was very, only missed 1 game in those 3 years with the Vikings. So perhaps he's only 5'11", though. I mean, 5'11", he doesn't fit that big wide receiver mold. But he could bounce back. I feel like ideally for the 6th role, I don't know. I was going to say the 6th wide receiver making the team should be like hopefully a young prospect. But we already have 2 young prospects in Luke McCaffrey and Jalen Lane. But anyways, that's how I see my consensus. Let's go over to the next thing. Let's go to salary cap, because I want to talk about salary cap real quick. Because as of right now, our team, our Commanders, 5th highest salary cap wide receiver room in the league. 5th most expensive, in other words. With $42 million allocated to wide receivers. Only teams that are higher than us are the Bengals, Bucks, Titans, and Dolphins. And I'm not really with that, the main thing with that is just there's no long-term money. Even with McLaurin, there's no we can go from 5 to 32 next year. I don't think that's going to happen because I think McLaurin's going to be here for the rest of his life. But, another stat is obviously McLaurin and Samuel right here, they make up for 71% of the cap hit for the Commanders in 2025. So again, Deebo Samuel's on a 1-year deal. So again, to me, if that was more allocated towards long-term money, I'd be like, all right, we need to, allocate assets elsewhere on the roster. But I think we have a perfect blend of veterans / young bucks on the wide receiver room, but young bucks who could have a critical role for us. Young bucks primarily in Luke McCaffrey and Jalen Lane. And then the veterans being, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, even maybe Noah Brown, but primarily just Terry and Deebo. And the thing about this wide receiver room is just that, it's expensive, but again, that can change like this. So I'm not worried about that. But the trajectory is only going up. Jalen Lane and Luke McCaffrey are only improving by the day. Deebo Samuel, contract year. His trajectory is up. He knows this is his last big payday of his NFL career. So that's one thing that's got me excited. We got not only a very speedy and nasty wide receiver room now compared to last year, we also got a very motivated wide receiver room now from last year, this year as well. A motivated, speedy, grit. Deebo brings that grit, dude. And I'm just like, okay, so those are all elements of something where I'm just like, to me, it's just like elements of just explosion regarding trajectory. So even though our wide receiver room is much better on paper compared to last year, it's still only improving and rising as each day passes by, in my opinion. So I love the blend of depth between the veterans and the young bucks, So that's one thing I'm just like, we now have, I said it in the thumbnail, we're going from ashy to classy in wide receiver room. Ashy to classy. I love it. I love I love the Jalen Lane pick. Team captain, athletic specimen freak. This is a guy where, wired straight, dude. And also, like, in Virginia Tech, like, he didn't even get them any good quarterbacks. Like, he was out there just doing his thing without a quarterback. So I'm just like, now just tossing one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, Jaden Daniels. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just saying. So, yeah, man, projections. So, we all saw Terry McLaurin, 13 touchdowns, new franchise record. Terry did his thing. And I want to pay him. I want to pay Terry, dude. I want to make this millionaire even more richer. This is a guy where I'm just like, he deserves the money. And hopefully he gets paid before the season starts. But last year, he had 1,096 yards, 13 touchdowns. I think he's going to get a little bit more than that regarding receiving yards. I think receiving yards, he could hit 1,200. And then also, even though 13 touchdowns was awesome last year, unfortunately, I do think that could possibly take a dip because of Deebo Samuel. Not too much of a dip. I think he can go from 13 to possibly, I'd say 9 or 10. 9 or 10, yeah. Solely because Deebo's going to be taking up some of those red zone targets. Or even then, like, Deebo's going to be taking some to the house. Like, let's just be honest. So, I'm high on Deebo, too. But anyways, this is Deebo's stats from last year and also for the past couple of years. Deebo, I think, and this might be far-fetched for me to say, and I might get shit for this. I don't know. I don't know. Last year, 670 yards in 15 games. I think he's going to reach 1,000 yards receiving yards. I think he's going to do it, dude. But he's going to be that guy who does it at the very last week in the fourth quarter, run a freaking slant, give him 1,001 yards for the season. I think that's what's going to happen with Deebo. I do. So he's going to be that very fringe 1,000, but he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And I think mostly in part because I think Jaden Daniels is going to take that next step passing-wise. I think Jaden Daniels is going to more rely on his passing game more than scrambling out the pocket. So you're going to see that. I feel like I'm pretty confident in that. But I'm predicting 1,000 yards receiving for our boy, Deebo, and 200 rushing yards. Last year, he had 136 rushing yards in 15 games. He had 365 rushing yards in the year 2021 where he basically broke out and made a name for himself. That year, he had 1,400 yards, 365 rushing yards. I don't think he's going to get 365 rushing yards with us this year. I think 200 is kind of like a healthy number. Again, all this is predicated on him being healthy the entire season. So I think that will be nice for him. And then it's the hard part now. Then it's the hard part because now I'm just like, okay, who's going to be the third dude? Because look, this is our wide receiver room last year, like the stats wise. Our second best wide receiver was Olamide Zaccheaus. 45 catches, 506 yards. Deebo's going to pass that. And then after Olamide is Noah Brown with 35 and 453. Nah, bro. I'm not going to give stats based off like Luke and Jalen Lane. But I think this is what's going to happen. I think Noah Brown's going to play a little bit more early on in the season. I think Jalen Lane from the get-go is going to get carve out a big special teams role for himself, punt returner. As the year progresses, I could definitely see Luke McCaffrey taking over the slot. Even though red zone packages, Noah Brown's going to be there. If Michael Gallup makes the team, Michael Gallup's going to be there. I think Jalen Lane could have that thing how Diami did last year. Whereas, at the end of the season, Diami starts, getting those long touchdowns. And in the playoffs, we all know what he did. When we make the playoffs, we gotta be positive. I think Jalen Lane can do that same thing. I think he's going to start the season, like playing snaps here and there, primarily as a decoy as well, because he was used as a gadget player as well. But then as the season progresses, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a 50-yard bomb, 60-yard bomb, 1 or 2 here and there. And then, he starts getting his rhythm. And he starts, taking over. And I think, but within that time frame, I think Luke will be the slot wide receiver. It's too early to predict this. I don't know why I'm making this video. But I need something to talk about. And to me, again, I'm going to go from, the wide receiver room being like a C- last year to now where I see it now as like a B+. I'm very excited about this wide receiver room. And, we got guys who are hungry. And to me, Jaden Daniels is going to feast on that. I love Jalen Lane. That pick was awesome in the 4th round. I'm surprised he even lasted to the 4th round, honestly. And Adam Peters said that himself as well. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys think, man. Of course, if you disagree with anything that I said, please let me know in the comments section. I feel like I hit all my notes here. I think we're gonna carry 6. Don't sleep on Michael Gallup. Yeah, I think that's it. I like this room, man. I really do. But yeah, man. I think I'm gonna do running backs tomorrow. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. Till the next video. Peace, y'all.